Boldwood presents Going Overboard, written by Portia MacIntosh and read by Corin Cass. Chapter 1. Cheer up, love. You might have marked the days wrong in your calendar. Ugh, gross. And way to make an already misogynistic phrase just that little bit worse. You've got to hand it to some people, going above and beyond like that. I suppose some might say it's my own fault for sitting on the side of the pub garden next to the pavement like I was just asking to be talked to by one of the drunk men pub crawling past. I am smiling now, to be fair, but not because he told me to, because the man who said this to me was dressed like a T-Rex. Peak dinosaur behaviour, as expected. I swirl my drink around in my glass, watching the ice melt under the afternoon sun. I'm trapped somewhere between heaven and hell. Well, you can't beat a Saturday afternoon in a pub garden in sunny Headingley. It's just a shame that some of the people doing the Otley run are so worse for wear at this point that they're in that annoying stage of drunkenness where being a bit of a dick seems like the funniest thing. I know I sound grumpy for a 32-year-old, and I was no stranger to an Otley run, the infamous fancy dress pub crawl, when I was a student in Leeds. It's just that today I'm trying to vibe in the sunshine, now that it feels like summer might finally be well and truly here after a few false starts, and that vibe is being killed by things like handing back a rogue inflatable banana to a 20-something minion with a beer stain down the front of his dungarees. Don't get me wrong, I love that Headingley is a social petri dish, but I'm feeling kind of stressed today. And coming here was supposed to relax me and cheer me up, and yet I find myself sitting on my own watching the world go by. Literally. I just saw someone dressed up as a globe. I smile to myself as a gaggle of girlies dressed as bowling pins trot by in their heels. I have a lot of time for that. That respect for style, even when it feels impossible. I don't envy them navigating the pavement flags, though, which I always seem to trip on, even when I'm in my trainers. It's been a long time since I went on a pub crawl with Kelsey, my bestie. Isn't it weird how you sort of reach an age when you decide you're too grown up for such things, but then one day your perspective shifts and you start feeling like you might be old? Maybe I'll ask her if she's up for it one of these days. Perhaps we'll even dress up for old time's sake. At least it's sunny. The entire street is bathed in a warm glow, and my legs are getting their first official outing of the season. Shorts seemed like a great idea for keeping cool, but it has to be said that my legs are looking alarmingly reflective. Maybe I should have stuck some fake tan on, just to not be such an obstacle to traffic should the light bounce off my ghostly white legs and blind a driver. But to be honest with you, I was so eager to get out of the flat and feel the sun on my skin that it's a miracle I even bothered shaving them. I'm scrolling aimlessly through Instagram, busying myself with something, when a shadow falls across the table. It's not a cloud. It's a man. "All right, princess," he says, his voice a mixture of swagger and slur. And there he is, Super Mario himself. Super drunk Super Mario. His hat is kind of flat and sad, and his stick-on moustache is clinging on for dear life, but he's got the full outfit on, even the white gloves. Well, I assume they were white when he put them on. Hi, I say, polite but cool, already turning back to my phone, pretending like I'm doing something very serious, very urgent, very none of his business. He doesn't take the hint. Mario plonks himself onto the bench opposite me, causing it to creak under his weight, almost like it's protesting his intrusion on my behalf. "What's a lovely lass like you doing sitting on your bill?" he asks, leaning across the table with the kind of smile that makes me think either this has worked for him before, or he has an overwhelming level of self-confidence. I'm certain it's the latter. "I'm with someone," I tell him. "My boy—" "You dressed up too, yeah?" he asks, squinting at me as he talks over me. "What are you meant to be?" I blink at him. I'm wearing denim shorts, a white vest and a pair of sandals. My long blonde hair is in loose waves. Nothing fancy. Who or what on earth could I possibly be, other than a millennial 30-something starter pack? "I'm not dressed up," I say flatly. He grins. "Not dressed, eh? Even better. You can be my peach. I wouldn't mind taking a bite out of that. I feel a wrinkle form on my forehead at his choice of words. Well, one word in particular. That. I don't know whether to cry at the sheer bleakness of it or burst into flames. Charming, I say under my breath. Come on, princess, what do you say? Ugh. And then he winks. Honestly, like that was going to help. Don't you have a drain to jump down? I ask, briefly confusing him with my smile. He leans over the table, too close for comfort, the overwhelming stench of stale beer and cheap aftershave overwhelming. My boyfriend will be here in a minute, I tell him, starting to feel uncomfortable. Oh, your boyfriend, he says mockingly. Suddenly she's got a boyfriend. Yep, I say weakly. I glance around, looking for a friendly face, or even the unfriendly face of a bouncer. But I'm not on anyone's radar right now. Mario smirks, so much so his moustache is hanging by a thread now. You don't seem like you've got a boyfriend, princess. I furrow my brow involuntarily because what does that mean? He shrugs like he's just said something deeply profound. I'm just saying, if you were mine, I wouldn't leave you sat out here alone. I'd be by your side, holding your hand, feeding you chips, maybe whispering something dirty in your ear. And they say romance is dead. Mario reaches across the table and takes my hand in his. I try to snatch it away, but he keeps tight hold of it. Okay, seriously, I'm not interested. I say plainly, because politeness is getting me nowhere. Come on, don't be like that, he says, shaking my hand in his. Just one drink, come on, say you agree. Look, you're shaking my hand, that's binding. I'm really not, and I'm really, really not interested, I tell him. Can you let go of my hand, please? The word please leaves my lips like a reflex, like muscle memory I've been trying to shake my entire life. Why, are you worried your fake boyfriend will get jealous? He asks. He clearly doesn't believe me on that one, which is infuriating, because I do have a boyfriend and I am waiting for him. Sorry I'm late, babe. A voice snaps me from my thoughts as I feel someone sit down next to me. As I turn to look instinctively, I'm greeted by a peck on the cheek. Well, mostly the cheek. His lips ever so slightly graze mine on one side. I just look at him and blink at the absurdity of the situation. Super Mario somehow stumbles to his feet. That's the only way I can think to describe it, as panic sets in. Shit, sorry mate, sorry, he babbles. She said she had a boyfriend. I thought she was joking. Sorry, my bad. No hard feelings, eh? We're trying to have a nice day, if you wouldn't mind pissing off. Yeah, of course, mate, sorry, Mario replies. Stunning, really, that Mario wouldn't take no for an answer from a female, but when a man rocks up, he gets not one, not two, but, let me just count them quick, 5 sorries. Sorry, Mario says again, taking it to 6. I don't know what to say, so I just glance back and forth between the two of them. Just go, yeah? Get back to your mates. Have a good time. He leans over to give Mario an encouraging pat on the arm. He's so cool, calm and collected. It's a move that somehow seems friendly and low-key threatening. It works. Yeah, okay, you too, Mario replies as he makes a move. You're a legend, by the way. Mario practically runs away, his moustache finally falling off, landing on the floor next to us. Wow, just like that. Gone as fast as he arrived. And it didn't take magic words as such, just any words spoken by a man. Bro code. Ugh. Still, at least he's gone. I turn to look at my hero. My tall, dark, handsome hero. He has messy brown hair and eyes hidden behind mirrored sunglasses, giving nothing away. His cheeks dimple as he smiles, showing a gentler side. I suppose something has to offset those bulging muscles and tall frame. Even sitting down, it's impossible not to notice. Hi, he says, grinning. Hi, I reply, unable to keep a matching smile from my own lips. The sunglasses, the tight black t-shirt, I can't tell if he's giving secret agent or Balenciaga model or both. He seemed nice, he replies. I let out a short, breathy laugh. Yeah, no, not at all, I say. Thank you for that. He was persistent. That's polite, he replies. What are boyfriends for? True, I say, my smile widening by the minute. Anyway, I'd better get going. I can't form sentences in time to stop him in his tracks. He's gone, disappearing into the crowd, leaving me feeling like I've had too many cocktails, or not enough, or like a little heat stroke made me hallucinate the whole thing. I can't help but stare into the crowd, waiting to see where he's gone, if he's coming back. Oi, Jessa! A voice snaps me from my thoughts. I turn to see Todd standing there with a beer in one hand and a pina colada in the other. Wow, I blurt at the sight of the huge glass, overflowing, probably due to the sheer volume of garnishes and various other bits in it. 2 umbrellas feels like a bit much. You said surprise you, he says, sweat dripping from his brow. Consider me surprised, I reply. You were ages. I didn't realise it was so busy. No, I got distracted, watching a match on one of the big screens, he confesses. Your drink might be a bit melty. I'd drink it ASAP. You're a bit melty, I tease him. Well, that's no way to speak to your boyfriend, he jokes. Anyway, who was that? Sitting next to you? Someone you know? Oh, no, I don't know him, I reply. He was just after our table, eh? Did you tell him to piss off? I didn't need to, he just left, I reply simply. This is why we think you women are so mysterious, FYI, he tells me. You never say what you really mean. I am always telling you what so mysterious, he says again, turning his phone sideways, giving away exactly what he's doing. Putting the match on. From where I'm sitting it looks like football, but by that I mean I can see a lot of green and a lot of men. It could be anything. I drain the last of my sea breeze before making a start on my pina colada. Wow, even though it's melting, it's still giving me the most intense brain freeze. With Todd immersed in his sport, I feel just as alone as I did before he got back. Well, minus my brief encounter with my heroic yet mysterious stranger. I can still feel his kiss on my face, like the ghost of it is still hanging around. It was just a peck, and only 10% of it tops on the lips, but it really feels like it's left a mark. I'm really grateful for him stepping in and saving the day like that. I wonder who he is, who he's here with, who he was dressed up as. I wouldn't have thought he was dressed up, but Mario clearly knew who he was supposed to be because he called him a legend. Then again, Mario was incredibly drunk. I suppose I'll never know who he was. It was just a random man right when I needed one. Maybe that's why my imagination is running away with me, because life feels a little boring these days. So why not project a bunch of wild scenarios onto a blank canvas of a man? He was something exciting, someone interesting, someone other than Todd who noticed me for a moment. But now the moment has gone, and it's back to reality. Still, better to be sitting at a table with a boyfriend engrossed in a football game than a drunk fake plumber. But only just. Chapter 2. 1 year later. I never knew you could fall in love with an ensuite until I met this one, and it's a love that intensifies every time I step in it. I love feeling the heated tiles underneath my feet, even on a warm day like today. When Todd was designing this place, he put so much thought into so many things, like which rooms should face south and be bathed in sun, and which rooms would do well to be on the cooler side of the house. I love his attention to detail with things like that. In here, it's all smooth marble and soft lighting, with gold taps that gleam like they have a dedicated cleaner who shines them every day. And then there's the double sinks. A sink each, both big enough to wash a medium-sized dog in at least. But you wouldn't, because there is a dedicated sink for that in the utility room. And then there's the bath. Oh, the big, big bath. It's freestanding and sits next to a floor-to-ceiling window, but not one with frosted glass, like you might think. Nope, one that looks out over the West Yorkshire countryside with uninterrupted views and, best of all, no one around to peep in at you while you're soaking the day away. I walk over to it and trail my fingers across the edge of it, thinking about how I'd love nothing more than to get in it, relax, have a glass of wine, maybe light a candle, and just allow my brain to empty. Bliss. But I can't do that right now for so many reasons. Back in the bedroom, the cloud-like mattress calls my name in a similar way. It's a super king, super squishy bad boy loaded up with at least 8 pillows and cushions. It's the kind of bed you could just dive right into, were it not for the perfectly laid out tray of breakfast sitting on top of the duvet. Croissants, glasses of champagne, cute little jars of jam. Waking up to this on a morning. That's the life, right? I carefully adjust the rolled-up napkins, angling them just right, and polish one tiny mist smudge from the silverware. Okay, now it's perfect. "It's ready," I call out. James walks in, his camera hanging from his neck, ready for action. "It looks great," he tells me. "Thanks," I say with a smile. "Oh, wait, one last thing." I grab the small vase with one single rose inside from the sideboard and place it on the breakfast tray. Okay, now it's ready. I watch James as he cracks on, snapping pictures of the room before zooming in on the cute little details that make all the difference. "Love what you've done with the place," he jokes as he photographs the breakfast. "This old thing," I reply, batting my hand playfully. James and I have really got things down to a fine art. He's a photographer for a luxury estate agent's, which is a genuine art form from the bonus lifestyle pictures to the twilight shoots. All things that make so much difference when it comes to not just selling a house but selling a home, selling a way of life. God, imagine waking up to this every morning. Imagine owning this house. I often wish the houses I worked in were my own, but this one is really something else. "Oh wow, I wish it always looked like this," Joanne, the actual owner, says as she joins us. Joanne is in her late 40s, early 50s maybe. She's wearing white, all white. The volume of white that only comes with having enough money to not need to worry about destroying it. Her tan gives away that she's been on holiday recently, and the photos dotted around the place give away that she goes on holidays often. I can tell just by glancing at her shoes that they cost more than my weekly food shop. Then again, you don't live in a house like this, custom designed by a luxury architect, without being super rich. "Jessa," she says warmly, giving me the sort of smile I would usually reserve for cute dogs. "The place looks simply divine. I'd seen your work, but wow, you've really outdone yourself." "Thank you," I say, genuinely pleased with how it's turned out. Sure, it's a beautiful house, although maybe I'm biased because I know the architect who designed it, obviously, and gorgeously decorated, but my little touches are really helping it shine. "It's easy when the bones of the house are this good," I reply. "I just dress it up a bit." "Come," she insists, "let's go downstairs while James works his magic. I have so many questions and I've made coffee." "Sounds great," I say with a smile. I follow Joanne downstairs, running my hand along the polished curved banister as I admire the hallway window. The front door sits below 2 stories of glass, allowing light to pour into the property, and that's on the north side of the house. In here, it's like an art gallery, or the set of a contemporary murder mystery, with so much to take in, it's almost too much, but it just works. There's something new to notice every time I pass through. "So do tell," she says, as we arrive in the huge open-plan kitchen. "How did you get into this line of work?" "Oh, it was just sort of a natural progression," I explain. "I worked in a showroom when I was younger, then for an interior designer. I fell in love with the idea of making homes perfect, but it was dressing them rather than decorating them that really appealed to me. So I started doing some jobs here and there, and then I started working with your agent, and here we are." "So, is it always the same things you add, or do you tailor it to the house?" she inquires. She seems genuinely interested, so I'm happy to talk about it. "Everywhere I go, it's slightly different. It's all about emotion," I say, smiling to myself as I talk about my favourite subject. You're not selling a house, you're selling the idea of a better life. The right scent in the hallway, the exact throw on the sofa, books on the bedside table or a coffee on the kitchen island. The details make people feel something, or fantasise about something even. That's what gets them. They walk in and think, this is exactly where I'm supposed to live. We step through tall glass doors and into the garden. Ugh, this garden, honestly. There's a pool, a full-size, heated outdoor pool with mosaic tiles and submerged steps like something you would expect to see at a spa or a resort. Next to it, an almost unused-looking outdoor kitchen sits under a pergola with a marble countertop, built-in appliances, and a wine fridge, because who wants to trail inside for a glass of white? There are lounges arranged around the pool, perfectly spaced, a fire pit, fairy lights strung between the trees. Everything's so perfect, it almost doesn't feel real. Joanne gestures for me to sit on one of the linen-cushioned outdoor sofas. She cradles her mug in her hands, a mug that perfectly matches the marble countertops. It's like even the crockery knows how to coordinate effortlessly here. So, she says, tucking one leg under the other, is it fun, your job, I mean, dressing up houses like this to help them sell? I smile. Oh, absolutely, I reply. It can be hard work, but it's a fun challenge. My car is always packed full of things like plants, candles, fake lemons, all sorts, but I love it. It's like playing house for grown-ups. She laughs. So, what exactly do you do? Like, what's the process? I'm fascinated. Well, I usually walk through the property first, get a feel for the place, I explain. Then I create a mood board based on the architecture, the target buyer, the light, even the postcode sometimes. There's a big difference between styling a city apartment for a young professional and dressing a place like this. Joanne nods along, clearly captivated. I always worry about boring people when I bang on about my job, but she seems genuinely curious. Then I source things. It can be big things like furniture, artwork sometimes, rugs, plants, textiles, or small things like bottles of wine and candles, whatever the space needs. It's about finding balance and creating an atmosphere, making it feel aspirational but also possible. Like, okay, this is how I live. I casually have fresh peonies in my kitchen and perfectly misaligned coffee table books about Scandinavian design. She laughs again. I do love the peonies. I know, I say with a grin. They're fake. Don't tell anyone. So what actually sells a house? She asks, leaning forward. I mean, aside from having it all, what gets the potential buyers on the hook on the day? Honestly? Details, I say. It's all in the details. Smells, for example, they make a huge difference. People walk in, and if the place smells dusty or like last night's dinner, they're already turned off. But if it smells like fresh linen or warm vanilla, suddenly it feels like home. Oh, I've got a cupboard full of diffusers, she says proudly. Perfect, I reply. And if you've got time before a viewing, baking something like cinnamon rolls or even just warming some cookie dough works a treat. It sounds cliché, but it really taps into the cosy home vibe. I did it once at a house just outside York, and everyone made an offer on the day. It was a beautiful house, sure, but you never know. Maybe it helped. I laugh to let her know I'm sort of joking, but things like that do make a difference. Joanne raises her brows, impressed. Wow, okay, I can do that. Anything else? Music, I tell her. Something soft and ambient. Nothing distracting, no vocals, no guitar solos, nothing too upbeat. Just something to smooth the edges. It fills the silence in a way that makes people feel comfortable. She nods thoughtfully, sipping her coffee. And tidiness, I assume. Absolutely, I say, and I mean extreme tidiness, like ruthless, clear all the surfaces of almost everything, pack away the kids' and pets' toys, remove anything personal or cluttery. People think they want to see a lived-in house, but actually, they want to see their future life, not yours. So the less stuff, the better. Sometimes it's worth getting a storage unit for a few months. Even if the buyers are going to come in and immediately fill the place with their own clutter, they need to believe they're starting fresh, like they're going to suddenly become minimalist overnight just by moving in. I can do that, she says, shaking her head. Wow, I really feel like I've already got my money's worth. You should do workshops. Maybe, I reply, but then who would need me? Again, I'm sort of joking, but it's true, I suppose. We both laugh and look out at the pool, sunlight glinting off the water, making it sparkle. I sigh. It is lovely here. The colours, the smells, the attention to detail. This, I say, almost to myself, is the dream. Joanne smiles knowingly. It is, isn't it? She replies. They tell me your husband designed the house for the previous owner. Boyfriend, I reply. Yes. Perhaps he'll build you one day. He has the skills, sure, we just don't have the budget. I would say this is the house I want to live in when I grow up, but being in my early 30s, surely I'm already there. But I know that what I have now isn't as good as it gets. I'm building up my business, and Todd is climbing the ladder at the firm of architects where he works, and the goal is to have all of these things someday. Until then, I'll just continue to daydream as I fluff pillows and arrange throw blankets and decide whether a ficus or a Swiss cheese plant will emotionally seduce a buyer into a £2.3 million home. I'll keep selling the dream, telling the story, until one day I can buy it myself. Here's hoping that day isn't as far away as it seems. Chapter 3. The sunshine hits me in the face as we step out of the church, temporarily blinding me as the church is bathed in some kind of heavenly light from above. Now that my eyes have adjusted, the light is warm and golden, the kind that makes everything look prettier. Hair, dresses, the flowers. The bells ring out, celebrating Kelly and Logan on their big day, almost as loud as the cheers from their friends and family. Todd squints beside me, tugging at his collar, his suit jacket already slung over his shoulder. He's always warm, I'm always cold, and isn't that just a recipe for the perfect couple? He looks like he's suffocating and melting, but he smiles anyway. We linger on the old stone steps for as long as we have to, waiting for our moment. Then we line up until someone shouts, "Go on then!" And we all start tossing confetti at Kelly and Logan as they emerge for their photos. They look ecstatic, completely swept up in it, and it's such a well-choreographed moment. I bet the photos will look amazing. We clap and cheer, take a few photos, then start the slow trickle back to the car park with everyone else. Todd opens the door for me, and I slip in, the leather already uncomfortably warm from the sun. He gets in on the driver's side, and the second the door clicks shut, he exhales like he's been holding his breath since the first hymn. "Well," he says, starting the engine. "That was a very long hour of pretending we're in year 4 again. I half expected someone to pull out a recorder and start playing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. It was like primary school assembly. They're not even religious." I laugh. Some people like to do the church thing regardless. It's traditional, I remind him. "It just feels so inauthentic," he replies. The church, the bells, the stained glass windows, it's a vibe people want for their big day, even if they're not very religious, I guess, I reply. "Well, that won't be me," he says, firmly, glancing at me sideways. "When I get married, it's definitely not happening in a church. Not a chance." I don't say anything to that. Just smile a little to myself and watch the countryside roll by through the window. We've talked about marriage before, Todd and me. It's always been in that semi-serious way couples do, a case of when, not if. But it still hangs in the air like a maybe. And I hate that the tradition is still so one-sided. Like it's his decision to make as the man. He gets to call the shots. He gets to plan, pick the ring, pop the question. I just have to wait. I mean, yeah, it's 2025. That definitely needs a revamp. But at the same time, there's no way I'd want to ask him. I couldn't do it. I'd probably mess it up. And what if he said no? I wouldn't want to chance it, not when I'm happy now. Todd snorts beside me, dragging me back to the present. And did you catch that thing the vicar said about them being childhood sweethearts? He says, together forever, except for that one year where they broke up and they both hooked up with other people. They clearly skipped that detail. I can't help but laugh again. You are so cynical, I point out. I'm just observant, he says with a grin, and realistic. They can say what they like, but half the people in there know the real story. This is one of the things I love about Todd. He's a classic Yorkshire lad through and through. He says what he thinks, usually with a dry smile. Never too harsh, just honest. He thinks musicals are embarrassing, yoga is a scam, and any meal that doesn't include meat is to be glared at in disbelief. It sounds awful when I say it out loud, but somehow it's charming. He doesn't say things to hurt anyone. He just doesn't see the point in pretending. Thankfully, everyone finds it charming, and he keeps more in than he lets out, believe you me. I'm so glad that we're doing this. It feels like I've hardly seen him recently. He's been so busy with work. I have too, but my workload is nothing compared to his, so I don't want to complain, but I have been feeling a little lonely. A night or two away, even if it is for a wedding, is just what we need to get a little of the magic back. I look at him now, still grinning about the newlyweds' carefully curated love story, and I wonder what the vicar, or non-religious equivalent, would say about us. Maybe marriage is on the horizon, somewhere closer than I thought. I could almost get excited. But I don't. Today is about Kelly and Logan. My relationship can wait. As we pull into the venue car park, I feel like I've stepped into a postcard. East Riddleston Hall sits in front of us, this gorgeous old building with light shining through its structure. It's framed by thick leafy trees, and everything's so green it almost doesn't look real. There's a lake just off to the side with a weeping willow dipping its fingers into the water. It's the kind of scene that makes you feel like you're in the middle of a period drama, like someone's going to ride up on horseback, a Mr. Darcy type, and mumble something utterly charming. Todd whistles low under his breath as we get out. Wow, it's nice here. He's not wrong. We walk down the path toward the barn where the wedding reception is being held, and it's like walking into a dream. Twinkling fairy lights are strung from beam to beam overhead, and flowers, what looks like actual fresh ones, not your standard wilting supermarket bouquet, hang in glass jars and twist up the wooden columns. White curtains are draped over the stone walls to soften them, and they flutter slightly with the breeze coming in from the open barn doors. It's romantic and beautiful and kind of ridiculously perfect. The tables are laid out beautifully, like something from a bridal magazine, with flowers and gold cutlery, elegant name cards, and more candles than a 90th birthday. It smells like fresh flowers and champagne. And I don't know if that's because both are here or they have a special diffuser made to smell like dream weddings hidden somewhere. It's stunning. But it doesn't scream Kelly and Logan to me. It's not them. Not really. It's like when I stage a house for clients. Everything styled to perfection, everything beautiful, just a little bit detached from reality. But why not, right? They'll look back on the photos from this day, no matter what happened, and see all of the beauty, the things they wanted to remember. Anything negative, anything not quite right, any stains on clothes or dodgy smiles will all be fixed by the photographer in post, like it never happened. We spot the bride and groom near the entrance, beaming in that way only newlyweds do. Kelly's cheeks are flushed. She's literally a blushing bride, and Logan's smile is wider than I've ever seen it. Todd wraps Logan in a hug and tells him how amazing it all is, how happy he is for them both, completely backtracking on everything he said in the car. But with Todd, it never feels fake. He means what he says. He just leaves out the negative stuff. I give Kelly a hug and tell her she looks beautiful because she really, really does. After chatting for a bit, we head to our table. I'm instantly relieved when I see I'm next to Kelsey. It's such a blur of weddings this year, and we all share so many friends. I've actually started to forget who belongs to which friend group, but Kelsey is my bestie, and her fiancé Neil is Todd's. Not that they would ever refer to themselves as besties, of course. Kelsey beams with similar relief when I sit down next to her. "Can you believe how gorgeous it all is?" she says. Then she lowers her voice. "Not very them, though."
"And did you hear that stuff about them being together forever?"
Neil asks in similarly hushed tones. They're so like us.
"Don't get me started, mate,"
Todd replies as he pours himself a glass of water. "I know," I say, pulling out my chair and taking my seat. "It really is beautiful, though. It's like a wedding Pinterest board come to life." Kelsey laughs, tucking a long brown curl behind her ear. "Not long until your big day now," I say, not that she will have forgotten, of course.
"Big week,"
Neil says under his breath. Kelsey glances at her engagement ring and then back at me, unable to hide the mix of excitement and nerves surging through her body. I know, I'm excited and terrified, but mostly excited, I think. I reach for Todd's water to take a sip. "It's going to be amazing," I reassure her. It really is. Out of all the weddings this year, and there are so many, the one I'm looking forward to most is hers. Kelsey and Neil are doing something different. Something very them, though.
"She's got a plan for everything,"
Neil tells us.
"Everything that could go wrong, she's got it covered. Not that she's made it easy for herself."
What I've made is a hopefully beautiful wedding week for both of us, thank you," she replies.
"We're having our wedding at sea."
He claps back, deadpan.
"If Mother Nature kicks off, there's nothing your scrapbook can do about that."
"He's clearly not seen inside my scrapbook," Kelsey tells me with a wink. Then she turns to him. "The actual wedding isn't at sea. You do know that, right?" She knows he knows that, but this is their thing, playful bickering. Neil grins like the wind-up merchant he is.
Yeah, I know, I'm kidding. But come on, a 5-day cruise before the wedding? You're practically asking for a storm."
"A cruise to a wedding," she corrects him, "because one member of the wedding party doesn't like flying. Just let me check my notes, see who that is. Oh yes, you."
"But you're the one insisting we get married in Sicily, my darling,"
he replies. Honestly, I could watch this all day. Kelsey rolls her eyes and mutters something under her breath about how she could insist they don't get married at all. I just laugh. This is peak them. Their banter, their easy rhythm. It's why I always feel happy when I'm around them. Todd seems a bit distracted. He's probably still seething over having to sing because that makes his life a little too much like a musical. Kelsey really has taken destination weddings to a whole new level. She's not just getting married abroad, no, too simple. She's sailing into her wedding like the queen that she is, turning the journey into a sort of pre-party at sea for the important names on the guest list. A 5-day cruise through the Med, docking in Sicily, where the actual ceremony will take place. That's a movie-worthy wedding, surely. Am I mad that I need to take a week off work for it? Absolutely not. Todd and I have been talking about needing a holiday for months, but we're always too busy. One, the other, or both of us. This way, it's all rolled into one. A holiday, a wedding, an escape from day-to-day life. I've been trying to find a way for the two of us to spend more time together, so this is our chance. And we get to watch our best friend tie the knot too, so even better. Luckily, the expense isn't something mere mortals like us need to worry about, because Neil is from one of those old money families, and his family in particular just loves keeping up with the Joneses. Hilariously, their last name is Jones, which means they're keeping up with themselves, and that seems accurate to me. I haven't spent much time around Neil's family or his friends outside our mutual group, so I'm hoping it isn't going to be an overly stuffy thing full of rich people who eat crumpets and play polo. Kelsey might not be old money, but she's always dreamed of a big fancy wedding, and she deserves this. Cruising to her perfect wedding. Love that for her. The food is unbelievably good, all 3 courses of it. We've just finished dessert, which was a dark chocolate tart with something citrusy and suspiciously addictive. I ate mine and half of Todd's. Well, he did leave it unattended, so I assume he wasn't planning on finishing it. It's a good job I've had Kelsey to chat with all day because Todd can't seem to sit still for more than 5 minutes. He's been up and down all through the meal, getting drinks, wandering outside, probably taking photos of the grounds or the old hall. He does that sometimes when he's overwhelmed. He retreats to nature and architecture, so I just leave him to it. I'm just going to nip to the loo, I tell Kelsey, pushing back from the table. Don't get lost, she replies. I hear it's a trek. OK, she's not kidding. You do have to travel to the loos, but they have a golf buggy if you want a lift. I think that's Kelly's mum, kind of drunk, hanging off the back of it, so I make the short journey on foot, admiring the lake as I walk alongside it. I step into a cubicle, and that's when I notice it. Someone crying in the one next to me. Not just quiet crying either, full-on sobbing with this weird, wobbly pitch to it. It sounds like yodeling, like someone's messing with the volume dial on a sad song. I've never heard anything like it. Are you okay in there? I ask, knocking gently on the wall between us. I'm fine, the woman says quickly. A sniff, a pause, then she starts up again. She doesn't sound fine. Are you sure? I call back, torn between giving her space and not wanting to leave her having a breakdown on her own. I can get someone for you if you want. No, she replies quickly. I'm okay, it's just weddings. And my boyfriend. And I'm giving someone everything. Every part of me. My life, my future, my happiness. It's all in his hands. I nod, even though she can't see me. That's good, though, I say softly. You have an open heart. That's how love gets in. She gives this half laugh, half sob. My boyfriend is never going to propose to me, she tells me. He won't commit. I don't think he can. All he cares about is his job and having a good time and bloody sport, above everything. There's someone better for me out there. Someone who really cares about me, not about sport. Ugh, sport. I groan playfully. My boyfriend loves football. For mine, it's cricket, she says, sniffling. He loves it more than he loves me. I'm sure that's not true, I reply. It can't be, can it? It is, she insists. He'd marry cricket if he could, but he won't marry me, and I guess I need to accept that. But breaking up, moving on.